Welcome to this episode of the Hunting Down Adventure YouTube channel. Today, we're making a knife. So as you can probably see, this knife looks like it's almost finished, but that is entirely incorrect. What I've done here is I took this long flat piece of steel that was given to me, and I cut it and have 3 knife blades cut out of it. What I did was I hammered in a tip with my forge and then ground that, just the imperfections off of it with an angle grinder, and then established that little handle area. And now, because that's about the boringest part, and now I'm going to take y'all along with me to turning this into a beautiful knife. Okay, so here we go. Our first step is what we're going to do is I'm going to grind it completely flat against the heavy grit belt on my belt sander. Well, first I got to plug it up. There it goes. So here I have the knife. It's ground flat, and I didn't worry about going too deep back here because that's my handle, and I didn't want it to be so much ground too skinny. So now I'm going to do the other side, and then I'll be complete on the surface ground. I now have both sides ground flat. And now I'm going to start moving up to a finer grit belt to polish it. And then I'll move on to the spine of the knife. Okay, so today is now day 2. And like I said yesterday, I'm going to start working my way up into a finer grit. So here I have a 150. I went from an 80 to a 150, and then I'll go to a 400. Okay, so I now have it ground down with the 150, and now I'm going to change the belt to put on a 400. So it's now day 3, and so right before a huge storm hit, I taped this thing up because I wanted to leave it outside, and that way my polished surfaces wouldn't rust as bad. So with leaving the tape on, I'm going to now go to the spine of the knife and grind all the way around, making it all flat and shiny. So I have 2 little marks here where I'm going to drill my pinholes. And now I'm going to drill my pinholes, I guess. So I have my scroll saw here, and I'm gonna cut out my handle scales now for the knife. And now my favorite wood to use is walnut, just because it's the nicest, but I don't have any cut out right now, and I don't really want to cut out any. So I'm gonna use some maple. Okay, so now I'm gonna drill my handle scale. Now I'm gonna take these wire cutters and cut out my pins. So now I'm going to grind this down to this mark, which will make it flush to where I need it. And then I'll do the same to the other side. So here I have my grinder, and I have this little grinding jig on here to make sure that where I'm grinding at is equal on both sides. Oh yeah, and I have it set to right in the middle of 10 and 15 degrees. So I'm now going to start hand sanding on this because I don't very much like a belt sander finish. Okay, so I now have this all hand sanded, and now I'm going to move on to hand sanding the blade up here. So I'm starting off here with a coarse grit, and I'm just going to sand with the grain of where I grinded with it. Okay, so I now have both of the handle scales to the equal size, and then as you saw in the last, we polished up the knife, and now I'm gonna glue up the handle scales. Oh, there it went. Okay, so now come to the other side, and I will put some on it, and then same like the other side, I'll put the other handle scale on. And then I'll beat the pins down so that way they're even on both sides. Then I'll peen it over. So I have it all clamped up in there where it has a nice and tight seam. And so I'm going to come back in a little while and take it out and start grinding on the handle. Okay, so it's now a couple hours later, and I've had the knife all clamped up, and the glue should be dry and everything should be set. Yep. So now we're going to take it to the belt sander, and we're going to put on a coarse belt and refine down the handle. So I now have it all sanded on the belt sander, and now I'm going to move to hand sanding it to get a finished look. Okay, so I'm now going to start sanding down the handle of the knife to give it a really nice smooth finished look. So what we're now going to do is oil it because we have it all sanded. I'm using ballistone for the oiling. Gotta get on the ends too. Now we gotta take the tape off. Put a little bit of oil on the knife. Now we're done. Well, guys, it's amazing how this knife turned out after all that. From what it began as to this, I think it turned out amazing. With that being said, if you guys did enjoy this episode of the Hunting Down Adventure YouTube channel, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. I was just about to go in, and then I saw the skies.